that we knew that a new influenza virus had been identified and that it was spreading rapidly among human beings.
We must protect the American people by stockpiling vaccines and antiviral drugs and improve our ability to rapidly produce new vaccines against a pandemic strain. It will require the active participation of the American people.
Apparently children were used as, for lack of a better term, guinea pigs in Oklahoma. I know from talking to people in the research community, even scientists who helped develop the vaccine for smallpox are saying they're not going to take the vaccine and urging their friends and family not to take this vaccine either.
And what kind of side effects did these children have, if any?
Well, contained in the vaccine is a component called thimerosal, which has been proven, half of it is composed of mercury, and has been proven to cause not only Guillain-Barré syndrome, but also autism in young children. There's been several court cases because of past vaccinations due to the autism issue.
And so how will the swine flu vaccine be offered? Will it be mandatory for people? What have you heard about that? Well,
there was a conference here in Washington last week where we have two themes present. We have the research community, the medical community, saying, look, what we need to provide the public is good information.
The military is making plans for a major outbreak of swine flu. Troops will be used to help civilian authorities.
In movies, you see deaths and hospitals overrun with the sick. Talk show hosts like Oprah Winfrey having guest experts explaining the coming catastrophe and its economic devastation. Fear and panic is caused by lack of knowledge on the situation. So let's look into what the bird flu is. The bird flu is slang term for H5N1 influenza virus, which is unique to birds. Virus is a microscopic seed or spore of a microscopic fungus or fungi. Bacteria is a living one-celled organism. In the beginning of the 1900s, virologists determined that the H5N1 is unique only to birds. It is found naturally in most wild bird populations with no mortality and is not typically harmful to humans. Only when bird populations become stressed due to massive contamination of the environment or overpopulation does the cellular terrain of the flock change, which then causes the virus to become lethal to birds. This virus is essential to birds because it is naturally designed by Mother Nature to keep the balance of the bird population sustained, and it helps to keep the bird's genes intact. The fungus parasite that evolves from H5N1 helps to decompose the bird's body. This virus has been with the bird population since birds existed, so it most definitely should not be feared. This virus is one of 1,500 or more natural viruses which are part of nature's life cycle. This virus has been part of planet Earth for thousands of years without causing any human casualties. So, how is it bad for humans then? The only way the H5N1 bird flu virus can become lethal to humans is by mutating from specific toxins like PCP, polychlorinated biphenyls. These mutations do not occur naturally, only when it is messed with by humans. Or if the body itself has toxins in it, then the bird flu can be bad for humans. Fully understand what is going on in the present, we have to take a look at the past. So I'm gonna give you a quick history lesson you wouldn't learn in school. The truth of 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. First point. Between 1900 and 1912, John D. Rockefeller funded researchers which began vaccination campaigns, primarily aimed at smallpox, which later evolved into influenza vaccination injections. 1914, the Great War begins in Europe. World War I. U.S. enters World War I in early 1917, declares war on Germany because German ships sunk the Lusitania ship. The president purposely had the ship sunk by the Germans for mind manipulation so the American population would want to enter the war. Since America went into the war on the side of Britain and France, the nation of Spain allowed the military to establish training bases in Spain. And the first time in history, American soldiers are forced to go to war. All new recruits were given mandatory vaccinations, one of which was the influenza vaccination. Recruits were shipped out to the Spanish-American bases. Rockefeller makes millions of dollars from vaccines while also making millions of dollars off of Standard Oil contracts worldwide. He funded both sides of the war. How else do you think they were able to power their war machines? The 1918 pandemic started in the Spanish training bases. Between 1918 and 1920, 50 million people died worldwide. How did this happen? Well, after the soldiers were given vaccinations, they were crowded into troop ships and sent to train in Spain. They became seasick and stressed. One of the main reasons of stress was obviously going to war itself. The soldiers between 18 to 34 had influenza symptoms on the voyage. As the voyage continues to Spain, the flu is passed back and forth amongst the soldiers. Every time the virus is passed to another victim, there is mutation to the virus. After arriving in Spain, the US soldiers were trained what to do when there is gas attacks by the enemy. Training included being awakened to poisonous gases being sprayed in their bunks and other places, and were forced to put on their gas masks. While within the time the soldiers got up and put the masks on, it was inevitable not to breathe in toxic chemicals. Since we learned earlier that when toxic chemicals are mixed with the influenza virus, it becomes lethal. All of this to me sounds like the soldiers were just guinea pigs, test subjects. This is exactly how the 1918 Spanish flu was created, and to this day was the most dangerous virus the world has ever seen. Millions of young, healthy men and women aged 18 to 34 die worldwide as a result of vaccination combined with unnatural chemical exposure. That is the truth on what happened in Spain with the Spanish flu. All human cases of H5N1 have occurred in areas of the world where birds are abnormally large in concentration, such as factory farms, and where residue of toxic chemicals are highly concentrated. Example: main outbreak of the bird flu was mainland China's factory poultry farms in Vietnam, specifically where thousands of gallons of Monsanto chemicals such as Agent Orange were dumped after the Vietnamese War. Good news versus bad news.
Good news, everyone!
Influenza viruses soon revert to their natural state within 2 years of mutation if left alone. Fortunately, this is what happened to the Spanish flu.
Bad news, everyone!
Modern biosequencing, bioscience supercomputers now have the ability to map and track specific viral genome sequences in order to customize and permanently maintain a virus for military use. This is called a biological weapon. Let's take a look at how many people have actually died from H5N1 virus up to 2009. On the World Health Organization website, which is www.who.int, states that up to 2009, the total number of cases for H5N1 is 421, and the total number of deaths is 257 worldwide. If you want to get technical about it, let's take a look at the total population of human beings on Earth. It is roughly 7 billion. Statistically and factually speaking, the chance of you catching this virus is very, very slim. So why in the world spend billions of dollars on vaccinations for this so-called inevitable bird flu? Quite honestly, inevitably not a pandemic. You're more likely to get hit by lightning.